Howdy do. Today I'm gonna run out of ink. The ink I'm using is J.Herbin Emerald of Chivor, and I'm transcribing the discarded image. It's a long book. I've actually been working on it for about a year. FYI, I don't just transcribe things all day long. This is just part of my warm-up to start my day, and I only do a page or two. A page or two from the book. Of course, one page of text in a book is equal to 2 or 3 pages handwritten, with skipping lines. Anyhow, this section that I was transcribing was really interesting. It was about the Longaevi, the long livers. It's the creatures or beings that don't exactly live out in the ether, nor are they of the earth, but they live on the earth. They dwell on earth. Anyway, a lot of these long livers were really unfamiliar to me, and so I did what I usually do when I can't find a definition or any kind of reference material, because believe it or not everything is on the internet. I went to my public library website and I entered my question in the form to chat with a librarian. I think it must have been really early in the morning because they were offline, so I had to leave a message. And one of two things must have happened. Either the form didn't go through when I hit enter, or whoever was the technician at the time looking at my message determined that it was a joke. And I don't know why. I mean, what's so funny about asking for a definition of the spume? Anyhow, if you don't already use it, I encourage everybody, if you live in America or a country where they have a public library system, I encourage you to use that reference function, because there are many people in your town or city who work very hard to bring these services to you, and you should use them. Anyway, there's something else I need to evangelize on, having to do with the library. If you don't already do this, I highly recommend looking either at your library website or going to the library and finding out all of the different free resources for reading ebooks and audiobooks. There's so many great things out there. Either Overdrive, or is it called Library Cloud, or Cloud Library? And then there's another one called Hoopla. And they allow you to check out 3, actually Hoopla lets you take 10 at a time, but most of them have a limit of 3 ebooks or audiobooks at one time that you get to listen to or read for 1 to 2 weeks. You get to set up however long you want to read it. But it's amazing. The quality is so good. It's part of my routine. I brush my teeth while listening to audiobooks on my phone. This super phone I have, I never thought I wanted a super phone. I was happy with my flip phone. But, now that I have it, I don't think I could ever live without it. I'm filming this video with my phone. Anyhow, check it out. Overdrive, Hoopla, and Cloud Library. It's really something that will enrich your life. So anyhow, I was unable to find out what all these long livers are, but here's a list. And if your library website for some reason is difficult to navigate, go into the library, introduce yourself, go up to the reference desk. If you run into the library director, that's even better, because there's something magical that library directors can do. If you tell them what your interests are, they will hook you up with other people in the community with similar interests. When I walk into the library, I feel like Norm from Cheers, because everybody behind the circ desk knows who I am, and they say my name. Sometimes I really wish, though, that I had access to a university library, because they have such great databases. Unfortunately, my public library only has one online unabridged dictionary, and it's not bad, but it doesn't have everything I need. I have a new goal for the year. I want actually a new goal for my life. Every year I want to save up, and instead of going on a vacation somewhere, I'll take a pilgrimage to a reference library and look up all the books that I can't access. There's a lot of them. Actually, I have a really big list of books that I can't put my hands on. As you know, when I transcribe, I have a little notebook next to me where I write down words that I'm unfamiliar with. I also have another little notebook with books that I want to read based on whatever is in the bibliographic annotations of what I'm transcribing. And then I have another notebook that lists out the books that are out of reach. And what I do is I go online, I go to worldcat.org, and I look up the title to see which libraries hold that book. Most of them are found at Yale or the Texas University system. So, what was it that Erasmus said? When I have a little money, I buy books. If there's any left over, I buy food. That's kind of how I live my life. I'm leaning toward becoming a minimalist, because I realize that it's not my job to curate and preserve all the good books. Because really, who am I? In 1,000 years, is it gonna matter that I had 3 copies of the Aeneid with different translations? Actually, I have 10. But anyway, because there are so many great libraries out there, I realize that it's not my job to preserve all the books. I really hope that there's no impending doom that would require me to transcribe feverishly to make sure that there's as many copies of the Aeneid as possible out in the world. So that's all I have on my public service announcement for the library. Please go check it out. Hoopla, Overdrive, and Cloud Library. It will enrich and improve your life. Now I'm about to run out of ink. You can see that I struggle so much trying to squeeze out those last drops. I'm going beyond reverse writing. The pen is upside down, and it really feels like it was about to run out, but I get this final spurt, and I'm almost picking up some speed, but it won't last long. This was the 3rd time it appeared that I was really running out of ink. And of course, it was the last. I will spare you the footage of everything else. Isn't it funny how it really can feel like it's running out, but then if you just try to make it work, and if your heart is full of pure wonder, it will go for a few more lines. spent. I was really striving to make that one last as long as it could. Every time my pen is about to run out of ink, I'm reminded of that part from The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck, where the antagonist is talking about how expensive tea is, and he says, "Drinking tea is like eating silver." And in fact, in this particular ink, the gold shimmer, I'm not sure if it's actual flecks of gold or just gold-colored flecks. But either way, it doesn't matter. If you buy ink by the bottle, of course you save money compared to buying by the sample, and everybody has a different price point. So in the end, it's kind of all the same, kind of. Anyway, here I am counting the pages. I always have a bear of a time trying to count up my pages. Anyhow, I'll fast forward this just to spare you. And coming up are the proper calculations. So stay tuned for that. Now it's time for some math. We will begin with the basics. The basics begin with the pen. This is my old reliable Lamy Safari Charcoal Black Extra Fine Steel Nib. The ink is this beauty, J.Herbin Emerald of Chivor 1670. It's their special shimmery, I guess. And I love the color so much because it reminds me of the waters of the cove at my grandmother's house. And seriously, the waters were this color. I'm sorry that the color isn't really coming through on camera. There is nothing I can do about it. If you would like to know exactly what this color looks like, I suggest you check out proper review channels, not mine. So there we go. That's the ink. And the paper is my reliable Mead college ruled 20-pound filler paper. And you can see that, or maybe you can't, I can see, there's just the faintest trace of ghosting, but that's because I was being very careful as I wrote to hold it upright, kind of like a calligrapher, just to make sure that not too much ink came out. Because of the extra fine nib, the gorgeous shimmering effect didn't really take. In fact, cleaning it out, I found most of the shimmery material was lodged at the bottom of the cartridge. So, and I'm still rinsing that out. Usually I can rinse out a cartridge to use over again within 24 hours. And that's just a matter of taking the syringe, filling it up, letting it dissipate or dissolve the ink, and then repeating, because it's one of those things where it's very difficult to get out, but it's also fun. I don't mean to cast aspersions on cleaning out cartridges. So that's the pen, the ink, and the paper. And now the real math comes here. The cartridge with the feed with the ink measured 5.58 grams, and then when it was all spent, it weighed 4.385 grams. So I know I'm not being accurate, but I'm just saying that for the purposes of this calculation, grams are equal to milliliters. So the ink I used was 1.195 milliliters of ink. if you divide pages over ink, I was able to write for 59.5 pages, and I used 1.195 milliliters of ink, so that is 49.79 pages per 1 milliliter of ink. And now, let's look at the endurance of the ink as per the word count. So on average, I wrote 95.5 words for 59.5 pages. You multiply that together, you get 5,682.25 words. Then you divide that by the ink used, 1.195, and you come out with 4,755.02 words per 1 milliliter of ink. Not bad. But it's not really a fair score, because at some points I had to use reverse writing just to make sure that the ink didn't gush out as it was wont to do. This ink is so fancy that it's very wet, and of course for my purposes I prefer an ink that's more dry. And that is not to say that this is bad ink. This ink is luxurious. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit my purposes for pedestrian everyday writing. Now let's do something fun. Etymology. No, sorry, wrong video. We're doing bibliographic annotations. Yes, let me see if I can find some. I marked some as I was transcribing. Okay, here we have right above where my finger is, there's a little annotation that says XXVIII, comma 25 SQ period, and the SQ is in italics. So of course that's 28, 25. Oh, he's referring to Paradiso, so what he's talking about is Canticle 28, line 25, SQ. What is SQ? SQ means it's Latin, and it comes from sequiturque, and those which follow. Everybody knows que at the end of a word means and sequitur means following, just like a non sequitur. Abraham Lincoln was a great man, and I like grape jelly. That is a non sequitur. Okay, the next bibliographic annotation. He speaks of... Oh, can you see? Let me see if I can get the whole line. Franciscus Georgius Venatus, O.B., 1540. And of course he has a little footnote here. But what is that O.B.? You can kind of guess from the context, since he's not really citing a source, he's citing an author of a source. So, O.B., as a bibliographic annotation, stands for obiit, meaning he died. And of course, you know a derivative of obit is obituary. Here's a fun writing exercise for you. If you're blocked and you don't know what to write, write your obituary. And if you're unhappy with it, go make something of your life. Okay, and then I see this all the time, and I'm sure you've seen it too. And you've probably put two and two together from the context. I was just never taught exactly what this stood for. And this is a bibliographic annotation, which I marked with cheap washi tape, and it's not peeling off well. Oh, warning, danger. If you're using washi tape as a flag, don't do it on a book. Just do it on your own material that's worthless. Or use one of these fabulous page flags that are meant to have the less strong adhesive. So anyway, oh, where did it go? Oh, right here. Okay. Now, you see this? PP 49 to 50. What is PP? Anybody? Anybody? It means pages. So, sometimes you see a P period, sometimes you see a PP. PP comes from the Latin paginae. Sorry, paginae. I always confuse my classical and liturgical Latin. Anyway, so that's a plural word. It means pages. And it's just an odd way to say that, isn't it? PP. I mean, there are not two P's in that word, but it's an old European thing. Or I shouldn't say European. It's an old Romance language. Not custom. What's the word I want? It's an old form. I am sure that you have seen this abbreviation before. What does it stand for? Estados Unidos. So again, there's not two E's there. There's not two U's here. But that's the way it's done. And I personally think it's kind of infantile. It just seems like an idea a kindergartner would have. Like, oh yeah, you want plural? Let's just double up the first initial of whatever we're abbreviating. Although I've seen this PP so much that I'm kind of attached to it just because, what is it that Hannibal Lecter says? We covet what we see every day. Anyway, that is all. Until next time, long may your big jib draw.
Come thou fount of every blessing, to my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet sung by